pretty good at drinking beer. I'm pretty good at drinking beer.
Guys, Sunday. Football. Vikings taking it to the Chargers. What? Been chatting with Hasman 440. I don't think it's going so well with the Browns. But he did tell me to make sure I'm drinking plenty of vitamin C for good health. That I am. Just got back a little while ago from work, getting ready to tear the second floor off the house. So today was spent lightening it up as much as possible and doing relief cuts. Pre-cut the roof into sections the width of our trailer. So should be interesting tomorrow. I'll be lifting it down with one of my favorite play toys, the Lull. Speaking of big time construction, my brother Rob from New Jersey, Pacot 58, he put up a pretty cool video. Unless of course you're easily sickened by spinning or by heights, showing them pouring concrete on the 70th floor. 70th. What are we looking at today? We are going to be looking at Poor Richard's Tavern Spruce. Ales of the Revolution. Authentic recipe from Yards. Actually, really kind of looking forward to this. It's liable to either be really good or a recipe that should have gone out with the man. It is 5% by volume. Malt beverage brewed with natural flavors, molasses, spruce tips, and sprigs. So, if it's like an IPA that leans towards the pine side of the citrus, I am okay with that. Nothing makes noise down here until the camera on there. Heck yeah. Okay. What do I have that screams revolution? Oh yeah, the douchebag himself. Hey, Obama, you worthless piece of shit, non-American waste of oxygen. Take a look at a real man. Actually, you probably would bow down to everybody. And we came to the conclusion that he can go face first into action here. We're cheating a little. We're putting it in the flavor enhancing glass. Wow. It is got some absolutely crystal clear, beautiful amber color. That's kind of funny too. Samuel Adams. Kindred spirits, huh? Okay. Evidently Shelby's excited about something. Kind of smells like a little bit of the maybe a little bit of the spruce, but it smells real ale-ish. Irish, smells Irish. Did I say Irish? No, I meant to say it says Irish, not Irish. Are you listening to me? Okay. Cheers, guys. I know, grow up. Well, it tastes like you took a little bit of water in a bucket and mixed in a little bit of molasses and then soaked the top of a Christmas tree in it and then dumped it into a bottle and then sent it to me. How about the sprig part? For me, sprig is a code word for the last section of a fire suppression system. The sprig is what goes up to where this, and that, anything that has anything to do with sprinkler pipe, you don't want to be sucking on that. You know, in the movies, everyone's like, singing in the rain, oh, it's so great, someone set the sprinkler system off. You know, it's always that lever that says sprinkler system, and you flip it, and they all go off. It doesn't work like that at all. There's no such thing as a lever in a hotel, like for, was it Casino Royale? Or no? Might have been Casino Royale. One of them. He like goes into the janitor's closet and there's a lever that says sprinkler system and he flips it and the sprinkler system sprays water throughout it. What was the other one? I think Angelina Jolie's first movie, Hackers. He hacks into the system with his computer and standing in the middle of the hallway, pulls out an umbrella and he's looking at his watch and all of a sudden, doof, sprinkler system. Wow. Well, he did have a funny comeback, said the pool on the roof must have a leak. I know we've discussed this, it's just one of those little irritants. Sprinkler systems. See, it's beer and a quick lesson for everybody new and wasn't here the last time. I just happened to have a sprinkler head and I kept it because it's a really high C factor. C factor is the more demanding of the potential commodity that would be on fire would require more water, or the water pressure is insufficient for a smaller sprinkler, so it demands, no pun intended, that you use a bigger one. And this one is a lot larger than what you've probably ever seen anywhere else. This one was actually a high demand, volatile commodities in a high storage scenario that I put in about 5 years ago. And when you see a sprinkler, the reason that there's no lever in a janitor's closet that you pull and the whole hotel starts to flood with water is because the water, this obviously water, Heffy, are you following me? The water goes through here, sprays up onto the bottom of the umbrella-like looking thing called a deflector, and it, you know, the deflectors look different depending on what they have to do. Upright, sprig, ones that are orientated, like a lot of them in ceilings. Never mind. The reason that you're not going to get water spraying all over the place is this is plugged. How this works is the sprinkler, you need the sprinkler to go off where there's actually a fire. If you say, believe it or not, the minimum legal requirement for any sprinkler to properly operate is 7 psi. You need, if you were to have, say you had a area that the water pressure was only 40 psi, that's pretty damn low. You don't want all of them going off, because you can imagine if you had 100 holes all over the place trying to put out a fire, how much would possibly be getting here versus if this was the only one. So in this particular case, normally what you would see in your office places or hotels is was a little red vial, and those are color coded for the temperature for which they rupture. Red is 155 degrees. When it reaches 155 degrees, same with this link, at 155 degrees this starts to melt and fatigues, and it is pushed out of the way, and the water comes and bloosh. So next time you're watching a movie and the sprinkler system goes off everywhere, know that that's inaccurate. We could have a follow-up class as to when that exists, but that's usually reserved for scenarios like tire storage, coal, and those systems are called a deluge system, and they're usually assisted with some kind of a fire pump to make sure lots of water is able to make it to all of those open sprinkler heads. Told Hazman I was worried that I'd have some kind of a blow up. Instead we'll go into a tangent about sprinkler heads. Well, it's kind of cool to be trying a used recipe going all the way back to our founding fathers. First thing you do notice is the now first of all, I'll start off by saying, depending on where you are, if you're some panty twisted pansy drinking a Michelob Ultra, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. At the ebomey shoot, somebody that I know is a craft head likes a large array of high quality beers. I'm intentionally leaving the name out, not to embarrass anybody. I turn around as I'm drinking. I think might have actually been drinking one of those Hapatuzis, whatever the hell it was, IPA. And I turn around and there's one of course, anybody that comes to the shoot is, inner circle quality, but, someone I consider a close personal friend and brother, turn around and what is he holding in his hand but a Michelob Ultra? And I said, well, what are you drinking there? And he says, a Michelob Ultra. And I said, can I see that? And he said, sure. And he handed it to me, and I threw it on the ground and turned and walked away. And you know who knows that that was a true story. I told him, as I turned back and looked at him, and I said, you just think about what you just did right there. I believe he corrected the problem appropriately, and we've moved past that. Our friendship is on the mend. Okay, so you get that molasses sweetness. Oh, I was about to say, there is nothing, at least to me, really overpowering about this. The molasses isn't really sweet. That sprucey pininess isn't, well, that'd probably be kind of nasty. Those little cone shaped incense that you can get, and you start them on fire, and then they just, that smell, that spruce, that piney spruce that it lets off. Yeah, if that was like too much, I think that would just be downright nasty. But nothing about this beer is overwhelming or overdone. I mean, it's all fairly mild. Having said that, is it terrible? No. That molasses, the molasses sweetness, again, it's there, but it's not super sweet or anything like that. And it's not, obviously in this particular case, it's not really like a roller coaster effect. It's, it's pretty linear. What you get at the beginning is pretty much what goes all the way through. Molasses sweetness, and then you notice that piney spruce like flavor, and it is a little bit like you took a normal beer and maybe took some spruce branches and let it soak in there a little, kind of like tea leaves, diffusing those flavors into it. Or I should know this, since my oldest daughter's a tea freak, and we've got the decanter thingy that you put the leaves in, and you gotta let it all sit there for anywhere from a minute to 2 minutes, depending on what the particular leaves call for, as it infuses that flavors, and it's, kind of something kind of like that. Would I get it again? No. Is it worth trying? Yeah, I honestly, being a big believer in those gentlemen and everything they did, it's kind of cool to know that this is an authentic recipe. There's almost that pride, I think about my beer, and I just, I start to get a little clumped and get a little something right there. Chuck, right there. Can you see it, Chuck? I don't know. I can feel it in my eye, but Chuck, can you see what it is? Chuck? Probably not. That part I've actually I think is pretty damn cool. These were men. These were fucking politicians these days. They won't even stand up for what they got voted into office for. Let alone these guys all could have been executed for obviously what they were doing. And pieces of shit like Obama and the libtards. Oh, these guys couldn't have possibly thought about how things were going to turn out. Oh, no. These guys thought about assholes like you and made something called the Constitution. It's too bad cockswogglers like this loser. Oh, I'm a Constitution attorney. Yeah? Yeah, you know what that means? It means you learned enough about the law to circumvent and try to get around what our real men, founding fathers, okay, so where is it on the E scale? It's okay. Overall, it's kind of mild. I mean, our founding fathers couldn't have possibly envisioned IPAs. Yeah, fuck you, Obama. Uh, you know, like it's definitely worth a try. I would give it a I would give it a 7.5. Most of that is just going to some, stupid patriotic thing that and respect that I have for this man and the men that got us. Well, they got us to where we are before the libtards started destroying it. So I cringe at what our future could possibly look like, unless we get someone like a Ted Cruz. I don't know. Overall, I know they want us to not like Donald Trump, but all things being said, there's still gray areas about Donald Trump. I mean, trust me. Everybody else, it's maybe somewhere in here, and what he says is somewhere in here. But the one person that I put in the same category as him is Ted Cruz, because this is the one person that has said, this is what we were elected to do, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm not worried about my political. I'm not worried about my career. I'm doing what I was sent to do. Just think about you and your job. If you were hired to be an accountant, or you were hired to be a doctor, or you were hired to install sprinkler systems, and I went to the job site and I was going to say something that I thought was equally stupid, but Chuck would have just agreed with. Well, fine, I'll go with it. I just show up to the job site and basically do nothing but walk around and tell jokes. You should be fired. You are not there serving the function for which you were hired. So if you are a politician and you ran on the platform, I am going to get rid of Obamacare, tighten up our borders, and do something about our economy, I don't even know how people like the liberals can even argue the fact that, I forget how much money has Obama, what has he done to the national deficit since he's been in office? But somehow this is all overlooked, and he said that what Bush did was terrible. Don't get me wrong. I don't give a shit if you have a D or an R. It's a matter of how much I hated you as a president. Not that I loved you. I mean, even Reagan. Sorry, he is the love child of a lot of Republicans, but he too did a lot of things that stepped on the Constitution and under gun rights and all sorts of things. So it's just simply a degree of how much I hate you. And right now, Obama, you have the hate meter pinned because of what you're doing to our Constitution. What should we look at tomorrow? As a side note, after spending a fairly lively conversation with a whole bunch of people that I really respect, the EOTech is now permanently back on the pistol. This is, speaking of Picot 58, this was from Picot 58, and I had it on here and absolutely love it on here because for what it's so at home on this thing, but I thought I should really leave it on the other rifle, and then I just decided that I'm just gonna figure something else out for that and leave this on here. But while I have this out, the Embus Pro sights, because I painted that one white. My good friend F-Ron1 sent me a kit from K&S Precision. This is a company that I very, very much stand behind. I have K&S springs and K&S detents, and the other rifle has the anti-walk pin set on it from K&S. There's some just top-notch shit. But he sent me a pin set, and now there's 3 different size round ones, small, a medium, and a large, and 3 different size square posts, so that you can swap it out. And this is specifically made for the MBUS Pro site. So, gonna do a video on that. The other thing, I honestly don't know a heck of a lot about this, but I need to find out. This is an enhanced polished trigger kit from Palmetto State Armory. You can use it in your AR-15 or your AR-10, and Palmetto State definitely does some pretty decent stuff, but this is, I'll have to maybe see at their site what they say is the trigger weight ends up being on that. So that's where that is. Oh, and in case anybody from ATF or whatever, you fucking losers, watch this. Oh, it's tight up against my shoulder. Oh yeah. Matter of fact, every single time I fire this, I put it tight up against my shoulder. Nothing more perfect than a nanny state that, please. Us civilians, we're so pathetic. We need our government to take care of us and to, coddle us from cradle to grave. Tomorrow, a little something from Johnny Watson. I'm sure this is gonna be awesome. It's from New Belgium. It's from their Lips of Faith series. Ah, Johnny, you are a funny son of a bitch, aren't you? It's 7% by volume. We know it's going to be classy. Okay. Best enjoyed by April 2nd, 2017. So we got plenty of time. So tomorrow should be good, I'm thinking. And the fridge is back up. Again, I think a couple of you this time did the old fridge reminder thing, and it was actually needed this time. Okay, so thank you, Smilemoney, for sending that up. I am going to go catch a little football and continue working on my vitamin C. So, we'll see you guys tomorrow.